Internet. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Monday and everyone's week is starting off fantastic. We have tons to talk about like normal, and there she is right on cue. Let's say hi to everybody. Scarlett. Okay, don't just palm me. Are you coming up? Just come up. Okay. All right. Hi. Okay. You want to give me a hug? All right. You've been extra needy today. All right. Okay. You extra lovey? All right. Let's go lay down. Can you go lay down, please? Go lay down, Scarlett. Please lay down. Good girl. All right. How is everyone? So much going on. You know, Matt Gaetz and freaking McCarthy got their big old feud going on. That's getting wild. We got Trump shenanigans like normal. The cities are going crazy. New York, Philadelphia, San Francisco, Oakland, Los Angeles. The iconic cities of the United States all going insane like normal. What else we got? We got, Feinstein. Well, she kicked the bucket, as we know, and her wealth, how much money she made while she was a civil servant, serving the United States. She became extremely wealthy on that modest salary that she made. It's insane how wealthy she became. But a Gavin Newsom replaced her with a highly qualified individual, from my understanding. And the qualifications were two set of criteria, none of which I'll get into. So we'll talk about LaFonda. Is her name LaFonda? I believe is her name. But we're going to start off with some COVID madness. Actually, that might be all we get into tonight. I'm going to try to do a show every night this week, folks. That is right. I'm going to try to do a show every night, at least Monday, or Monday through Friday. I'm going to try to this week. So keep it shorter. Try not to go on too many rants, and we'll go from there. Let's check in with the chat, see how everybody's doing. I know Wally World's here. Freaking haven't seen Terry for a while, but I'm sure she'll be dropping in at some point. So I hope everybody is good. Let me make sure I'm live over here on Rumble. Make sure I'm live over here on the X platform here. Should be. Let's see. Uh-oh. Actually, doesn't look like I am. Let's see. Yeah, it does not look like I'm live over there. Huh. Well, let's see. See if I'm live over on Rumble at least. Oh. Yep. Shovelbone, how you doing? Greetings. Why am I not live over on X? This doesn't make any sense. That's not good, people. I don't like it. What's going on? Sorry, got to do a little troubleshooting, a little live troubleshooting. Trying to stream to Elon's platform here, but it does not seem to be working, and I don't know why. Slightly concerning. Yeah, I do not appear to be streaming over there. It says I am on StreamYard, but I don't know. It's under a different place now. No. I don't know. I guess I'm not live over on the X platform. So, there it is. Now it's there. Okay, whatever. Good old, come on, Elon. Let's get the bugs worked out here. I know you got a lot going on. You're sending rockets into space and stuff, and keeping internet over Ukraine, all that kind of stuff, which I don't even think you should be doing, frankly, especially with them attacking you all the time like they do. I don't know, some Ukraine affiliated person just put out some stupid tweet about Elon, like poking him a little bit. It's like, isn't he the one, like the only one providing you guys internet right now? I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know in the chat. All right, let's get into it. So, got to talk about some COVID stuff because there's plenty of it. So, lab leak stuff, CIA involvement. There's so many things that have happened in the last 3 years that blow my mind. And I kind of get that everybody just wants to move on because of how, for lack of a better term, traumatic the whole thing was for everybody. I get it that everybody wants to move on from it, but and reviewing it in detail what happened, what we got wrong, and all that stuff. Yeah, that's hard stuff. It's hard to look in the mirror too, like what we got wrong. And the thing is, there's some incredible things that happened that cannot be described as anything less than crimes against humanity. And the lack of informed consent and the coercion, at the very least, I'll say force, because a certain level of force was applied to get people to take the vaccine, the safe and effective vaccine. There was coercion involved, and there was a lack of informed consent. Even the pamphlets that are supposed to come within the vaccine, they were all blank. Like, they didn't. Even the stuff that got FDA approval, that stuff didn't be Comirnaty or whatever it was. There was so many shenanigans going on. Anyway, I'll bring up just a bunch of stuff. We got clips to talk about. I might just only end up talking about COVID this whole freaking time. Yeah, Fauci's secret CIA visit. Yeah, we're going to get into that. I'm just going to play this quick clip from, I hate playing anything from Fox News, and it makes me suspect when I see Fox News talking about anything. But, well, they're talking about Fauci's visit to the CIA. I think they're going to kind of hang Fauci out to dry. I think he's always been set up to be the fall guy. If they can pin everything on Fauci and make him the fall guy, then, it might go well for everybody else. I don't know. That might have been their plan the whole time. But let's watch this quick clip from stupid Jesse Waters. And, yeah, it's just a quick 38-second clip. Let's watch it really quick here. So, give you full screen. Let me do this really quick, actually. That's me. What the heck? Come on. Sorry, folks. You guys know I'm challenged. There. Okay. All right. Let's watch this quick clip from good old Jesse Waters.
New evidence has just surfaced tying Dr. Anthony Fauci to the CIA's cover-up of COVID-19. Last week, a whistleblower claimed the CIA was paying people off to bury the lab leak theory. And now this, from the House committee investigating the pandemic origins. Quote, Dr. Fauci was escorted into Central Intelligence Agency, CIA headquarters, without a record of entry and participated in the analysis to influence the agency's review. The committee is now ordering HHS to hand over documents detailing all of Fauci's movements during the pandemic in and out of CIA-controlled sites. New evidence has just surfaced tying Dr. Anthony Fauci to the CIA.
Okay, so we already know all about the lab leak stuff and Fauci's concerted effort to make sure that the lab leak theory went away. And this all came from bats, the wet market, all this. We already know all this. But the thing about the six scientists in the beginning, and 5 of the 6 scientists said that, yeah, this really looks like it was created in a lab. This whole cleavage site thing, the cleavage site, you'll hear them talk about that a lot. It didn't look natural from the get-go. And the first people that looked at it, that were assigned to look at it, 5 of the 6 said, yeah, this is clearly lab made. The one person that didn't was also like intelligence agency involved. And then seemingly overnight, all 6 of them were in line. All 6 of them had changed their tune and said, no, this clearly came from animals. And it jumped over to humans. There was some sort of crossover or spillover event, I believe is what they call it. And it happened naturally. Well, all of them received massive amounts of money, and it's quite obvious. It certainly appears that it certainly appears that there was a concerted effort to say it didn't come from a lab when all the evidence was pointing at lab leak. Okay, let's move a little bit forward. So we know about the lab leak stuff, CIA involvement crap. Now let's look at, I want to talk about gain of function now. So there was this concerted effort here, Let's read all this. This is from Clint Russell. So Clinton writes, apparently this tweet is being marked as sensitive content, so I'm screenshotting it so you all can read it. This is the most important tweet I've read all year. My bet on who could do this, Ralph Barrick of the UNC Chapel Hill. So I'm going to read this whole thing to you because this is, yeah. I don't care if you took the vaccine. Well, no, I mean, I care if you took the vaccine, but I don't like hate anybody that took the vaccine. I can't stand it when people won't look at things honestly. And if you took the vaccine and you're doing everything you can to justify your decision to take the vaccine, well, I'm sorry, I can't help you. If you're not willing to look at this honestly and say, yeah, maybe I was duped, and I'm not even trying to put it that way, like you were duped and, they got over on you or anything, but you got to admit there was a certain amount of coercion that was applied to you. A lot of people, there was a lot of coercion. And like I said in a tweet earlier, they started with the carrot, rewards. They even did the lottery program. Remember California did the whole lottery program? Win money, take the job, win money. They gave out donuts. They gave out freaking pot. They did joints for jabs. You remember that? Did all sorts of crazy shit. And then when a bunch of people decided they didn't want to take it, that's when they went with the stick. And California state employees, medical workers, they tried to put the hammer down. You weren't allowed to eat inside. You weren't allowed to enter certain places. It was insane. It was California led the charge with COVID insanity. The law that the California passed that they quietly repealed. I can't remember what assembly bill it was, but they got it to pass, and Gavin Newsom signed it into law that if doctors say anything negative about the COVID-19 vaccine, they can have their license revoked. That is madness. It goes against everything the whole medical establishment is supposed to stand for, and it goes against everything our country stands for the state to be able to get between you and your doctor. That is the most sacred thing. You and your doctor. That's supposed to be private between you and him or her. And they are supposed to guide you in your personal health. For the state to threaten a doctor, to coerce a doctor, to make it so, to censor a doctor, to keep a doctor from being able to give you their opinion on something is madness. That's what California did. Anyway, sorry. Let me read this to you. We need to understand that Plasmagate has received so many insidious coincidences about this genomic sequence. And I'm going to pause really quick. I don't know a lot of the scientific crap that this guy's talking about. So I'm just going to read. So if I pronounce some words wrong, bear with me here. I'm doing my best. Let's start over. We need to understand that Plasmagate has revealed so many insidious coincidences about this genomic sequence that there seems to be only one logical conclusion about the presence of plasmid DNA in COVID jabs. The fact that multiple mechanisms for nuclear integration, i.e. genome modification, or plasmid DNA in the product exist coincidentally is so improbable that ocean beats Hanlon in Razor's steaks easily. I'm assuming that's some sort of intellectual reference. I think it's a Hanlon's Razor reference, but I'm still not even, smarter than me. Anyway, the fact that multiple mechanisms for nuclear integration, i.e., I already read that. But this raises a new question, that is, how many scientists are there in the world that have experience in all these areas enough to design a product all the way from virus to genetic vaccine that created an end result that was impossible by chance? Okay, so how many scientists in the world could have done this? Okay, come on, you can do it. I think I went too far. Sorry, folks, I'm being a terrible host tonight. Yes, I am indeed being a terrible host. Okay, to recap, a new coronavirus that could not exist in nature. a furin cleavage site that doesn't belong in the class of viruses and was so unstable it disappeared at the first genomic evolution in nature. So that, I believe what he's saying there is the virus, the original, the Delta variant, it had a very clear cleavage site in it. But once it mutated and there was a new variant, that cleavage site disappeared. I believe is what they're saying there. I believe. You smart people, fact check me on this. Maybe some of you guys in the comments. Oh, Hallucinate, how you doing? Hanlon's razor, don't attribute to malice what is probably just stupidity. Now I want to go back and look at what he said. Anyway, maybe you can explain to me, Wally. Well, I remember that statement now. Anyway, a furin cleavage site that doesn't belong in this class of viruses and was so unstable it disappeared at the first genomic evolution in nature. Retention of the furin cleavage site in a vaccine design when this was against all previous protocols. Retention of the full length of the spike protein when the principle of vaccine design is not to exactly replicate toxic proteins of the viruses. See the design of the spikogen vaccine without these elements. Plasmid DNA found in the vaccine in therapeutic concentrations. Plasmid gate in hashtag plasmid gate. Use the oncogenic SV40 enhancer in the plasmid production of the mRNA vaccine, which acts as a nuclear localization signal, NLS. Okay, I don't know what any of this means. Are you guys smarter than me? I hope you guys are picking this up. The presence of the NLS in the spike protein, PRRARSV, which is the very furin cleavage site that shouldn't be in the virus or vaccine. Okay, so is he just saying that, so the virus looks like it was man-made, created in a lab, and then the vaccine for this also looks like it has the same cleavage site, so it looks like the vaccine was developed at the same time as the virus? Is that what they're saying? Is that what he's saying? That the vaccine was developed at the same time as the virus, or that they had the vaccine in mind when the virus was created? I'm not sure I'm following exactly. A clumsy attempt to cut up plasmid DNA, which then renders short segments of linear DNA, which has a higher risk of integrating into genome. The presence of high-potency lipid nanoparticles made from products not approved for medical use, which can act as a nuclear transfectants in both mRNA candidates and an equivalent in Novavax, see Novagate. The attack on the Jinmi paper, see NIH Gate, which showed that spike protein from the mRNA products was acting in the nucleus. The inclusion of the ORF in the poly-A tail of a supposed mRNA vaccine. The question is not how many coincidences before coincidence becomes mathematically impossible. Can you guys hear my dog snoring? I don't know if you guys can hear that. My dog's snoring super loud right behind me. All right. The question is not how many coincidences before coincidence becomes mathematically impossible. The question is how many, she's snoring so loud. The question is how many people are in there? How many people are there in the world that can design a genomic sequence masquerading as a virus in order to impose a genetic therapy product on the world that was found to have multiple mechanisms for genomic integration that could never have happened by chance? The answer is less than 10. Okay. Now I want to click on this. Oh, it's just a screenshot. Never mind. I'm stupid. Oh, boy. Okay. My brain is having trouble. Like, I'm not sure if I can say this out. Like, can I even say what I'm thinking this guy is saying out loud? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at your guys' comments, Wally. So too many coincidences for it to be just stupidity. Looks like actual malice. Yeah. But if it was malice, then what are the implications? So if they created this virus on purpose and then created. I'm streaming on YouTube right now. Goodbye, YouTube channel. So if I lose you guys in the middle of the chat, you might have to come over to Rumble. So hypothetically speaking, because this could never happen, this would obviously never happen. But if someone was so inclined to create a virus in a lab, but then that same group of people also began creating the vaccine for it at the same time, or they had both in mind, wouldn't that imply that it was released, hypothetically speaking, not saying it did happen, but wouldn't it imply that it was released on purpose? So that's the question, I guess, the insane question that I asked in the very beginning of all of this to my best friend. I was just like, look what's going to happen from this, and look how like Trump's presidency was going so well. There's so much that happened after COVID, obviously. Just look how I hallucinate. Yes, yeah, but there's thinking it, and then there's vocalizing it and saying it out loud, because this is a conspiracy of the highest proportions. Like, think about the implications of this and the planning that would have had to have gone into it, and the level of evil involved that it would take from the people that would plan this out and do this. And there's tons of evidence pointing to Occam's razor. Yeah, so how could this not be malice? I mean, never attribute to ignorance what could be attributed to malice. Like, okay, I get that. And yeah, I think a lot of the people that took the injections, people that went along with stuff because of greed. Yeah, there was a ton of that. There was a ton of money being just thrown around everywhere. Sure, people are just going to take the money and run with the program. But I think a lot of people are realizing what they were involved in now and what they helped perpetuate, hypothetically speaking. This is madness. This is freaking madness. Let me jump over to Rumble, check the chat. First time here. Nice. Thank you for being here, Shovelbone. I'm super glad you're here. Yeah, so it's just, all right, this is insane. Okay, let me get out of this one because there's more. So I wouldn't even entertain this thing, but it was put out by one of my favorite people, Chief Nerd, and I want you guys to watch some of this guy's testimony. I can't play the whole thing because it's 18 minutes, but I mean, what this guy is saying is sort of insane. Actually, let me read you what Chief Nerd says before I play some of this video for you. So, Chief Nerd says, cancer genomics expert Dr. Philip Buchholz testifies in the South Carolina Senate on the DNA containment found in mRNA COVID vaccines. The Phizer vaccine is contaminated with plasmid DNA. It is not just mRNA. I'm kind of alarmed about the possible sequences of this. It could be causing some of the rare but serious side effects like death from cardiac arrest. This DNA can and likely will integrate into the genomic DNA of cells that got transfected with the vaccine mix. It's different from the mRNA because it can be permanent. It could cause, theoretically, a sustained autoimmune attack towards that tissue. It's also a very real theoretical risk of future cancer in some people. There's probably about 200 billion pieces of this plasmid DNA in one dose of the vaccine. This is a bad idea. So that's a statement from him. This is, this is a legit cancer genomics expert, Philip Buchholz. So let's listen to some of this video from him. And it just goes to what we were just talking about.
For those of you who don't know me, my name is Philip Buchholz. I have a PhD in biochemistry and molecular biology. I'm a cancer gene jock. Basically, I do cancer genomics research at the University of South Carolina. And what that means is that I'm kind of an expert on all the ways that the human genome can get futzed with during your lifetime, and which of those things cause cancer and which ones don't. Okay. So technically, that means that I'm very, very skilled in the art of DNA sequencing. Okay, I can figure out the sequence of things that I didn't know what I was looking for. And I'm also pretty good. When I say I mean the people in my laboratory. You're not going to hear their names, but there's a group of people that do this excellent work. We're really good at detecting foreign pieces of DNA in places where they're not supposed to be, even if they're real low levels. And we used those skills during the pandemic. We invented the COVID test that many of you did a spit test. Okay, that came out of my lab because we were really good at that kind of stuff. And so I've earned a fair amount of respect in the state of South Carolina and in this body, because we did a ton of COVID testing in the middle of the night when people were afraid, and we told them, no, you don't have COVID in your home, or yes, you do. So my qualifications to comment on this are both technical and kind of relational in the state of South Carolina. I'll cut to a very narrow theme here, but it does touch on lots of these regulatory issues, and I'll leave it to you to expand on those if you want to. I'll try to stay in this narrow lane of some problems in the Pfizer vaccine as a case study for places in which regulatory oversight could be improved. All right, so first of all, let me say that my interpretation of the literature is that the Pfizer vaccine did a pretty good job of keeping people from dying, but it did a terrible job of stopping the pandemic. The early publications showed that it stopped infection, but that only lasted for like a month.
Dr. Buchholz, could you pull the mic a little closer to you? Staff's telling me they're having trouble getting you on the recording.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
In my professional evaluation of the literature, the Pfizer vaccine did a pretty good job of keeping people out of the cemetery, but it sucked at stopping the pandemic. And it was the best of sucky options that we had. And I still believe that it was deployed mostly in good faith, but there were a lot of shortcuts taken because the house was on fire, and we could do a better job next time from the lessons that we're going to learn here. That's my own personal view of this, but I'm also, my philosophical bent here is, I'm sure many of you have heard of Occam's razor, right? Choose the simplest of explanations. Well, there's another one called Hanlon's razor, which is never attribute malice to that which can be better explained by incompetence. And so I'm trying to be gracious here. In many circumstances, there could be malice underneath, but I'm trying to see just incompetence to be gracious. So
that's a very fair thing to say. And that's a very reasonable position to start from. Not going in looking for malice, but okay, let's look at the stuff that we got wrong, and then let's look at what the possible reasons for that could be, without going in saying this was, you can't jump in saying this was some giant, well, I don't even want to say it on YouTube, but a plan to reduce the count of something on Earth. Can't just jump in right with, you have to stick with what you can prove to keep a logical, rational argument. Anyway.
The Pfizer vaccine is contaminated with plasmid DNA. It's not just mRNA. It's got bits of DNA in it. This DNA is the DNA vector that was used as the template for the in vitro transcription reaction when they made the mRNA. I know this is true because I sequenced it in my own lab. The vials of Pfizer vaccine that were given out here in Columbia, one of my colleagues was in charge of that vaccination program in the College of Pharmacy. And
okay, so right off the bat, this man is claiming, and Raj over there at YouTube, I'm not claiming it, this man is, he is claiming that everybody that took one of these injections injected themselves with DNA. Okay, so he's saying that.
for reasons that I still don't understand, he kept every single vial. So he had a whole freezer full of the empty vials. Well, the empty vials have a little tiny bit in the bottom of them. He gave them all to me, and I looked at them. We had 2 batches that were given out here in Colombia, and I checked these 2 batches, and I checked them by sequencing. And I sequenced all the DNA that was in the vaccine, and I can see what's in there. And it's surprising that there's any DNA in there, and you can kind of work out what it is and how it got there. And I'm kind of alarmed about the possible consequences of this, both in terms of human health and biology, but you should be alarmed about the regulatory process that allowed it to get there. So this DNA, in my view.
So to recap really quick what he just said, it's not supposed to be there. The DNA is not supposed to be there at all. Remember, this safe and effective vaccine was very heavily pushed by the United States government, governments around the world, especially in the West, and the media. And there was coercion. There was travel restrictions. You can't even call it coercion. It was force. And now we're looking at this vaccine and realizing that there's some stuff that's very wrong with it.
It could be causing some of the rare but serious side effects like death from cardiac arrest. So there's a lot of cases now of people having suspicious death after vaccine. It's hard to prove what caused it. It's just, temporally associated. And this DNA is a plausible mechanism. Okay. This DNA can and likely will integrate into the genomic DNA of cells that got transfected with the vaccine mix. This is just the way it works. We do this in the lab all the time. We take pieces of DNA, we mix them up with a lipid complex like the Phizer vaccine is in. We pour it onto cells, and a lot of it gets into the cells, and a lot of it gets into the DNA of those cells, and it becomes a permanent fixture of the cell. It's not just a temporary thing. It is in that cell and all of its progeny from now on forevermore. Amen. So that's why I'm kind of alarmed about this DNA being in the vaccine. It's different from RNA because it can be permanent. This is a real hazard for genome modification of long-lived somatic cells like stem cells. And it could cause, theoretically, this is all a theoretical concern, but it's pretty reasonable based on solid molecular biology, that it could cause a sustained autoimmune attack toward that tissue. It's also a very real theoretical risk of future cancer in some people. Depending on where in the genome this foreign piece of DNA lands, it can interrupt a tumor suppressor or activate an oncogene.
Okay. You guys should all go watch this whole video. I'm not going to play the whole thing because I think you're getting the gist of where this is going. But this is posted by Chief Nerd. You can find it. Here, I'll just repost it really quick. So if you go to my X account right now, it'll be the top thing posted on my page. If you want to watch this and bookmark it, it's an 18-minute video. So I highly encourage watching the whole thing. But this man's basically saying that, he got a bunch of the vials. He got a bunch of the vials after they injected it into people. And there's a little bit left of the vaccine in the bottom of all these vials. And he tested all of them. And he sequenced it. And he looked and he figured out what is in these vaccines. And what he found, he's very disturbed with, because he said the DNA is not supposed to be there. There's a lot of problems with these lipid nanoparticles. And like the spike protein was supposed to just stay in the arm. It's not. It's being found everywhere. It's looking like it's crossing the blood-brain barrier. There's all sorts of crap wrong with this vaccine. And it was pushed so hard on everybody. There's so many people that regret taking it. There's nobody that doesn't regret not taking it. No one. Not a person out there. I was like, you know what? I really wish I would have took that vaccine. That's because they're all dead. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, that's not true. All that talk, remember, about how there's so much propaganda going around about how this man died alone. His last words that he said were, I wish I would have took the vaccine. It's like such crap. There was so much. The only solution was go take your vaccine. No talking about quit smoking, quit drinking so much, eat better, get your heart rate up every day. Instead of telling people to go out and hit the trails and hit the bike path and hit the ocean and go surfing, like all of the outdoor activities should have been encouraging, especially when the shutdowns happened. It started like right in the beginning of spring when it's getting nice outside. It should have been encouraged. You know what? Everybody, you've never had a better time to go get healthy. None of this crap was talked about. It's just vaccines. So it's just, yeah. And Biden administration has announced it's providing another $600 million in funding to produce another at-home COVID-19 tests. Like, what the frick? Okay. All right. We already talked about the Fauci stuff. All right, I think this is the same stuff about Fauci, but I want to see what Schellenberger has to say about it. So Fauci diverted U.S. government away from lab leak theory of COVID's origin. Sources say Fauci allegedly attacked lab leak theory at meetings at CIA, the State Department, and the White House. And it's looking like it's highly looking like Fauci not only knew, I don't want to say it. Like, I don't want to say it out loud, but screw it. Screw it, YouTube channel. I don't care. It's looking like Fauci was involved in creating COVID in a lab. Or at least something that was parallel with COVID. And then, like, maybe he didn't create COVID itself or was involved in creating COVID itself, but was involved in gain of function. And then with Chinese, the NIH, the National Institute, or the NIAID, providing funding to these labs. Like, I think it was that actual lab in Wuhan too. And then when it gets released and it comes out, everybody's saying it looks like it came from a lab. Fauci's like, no, it didn't come from a lab. It came from a wet market. Like, the dude that I think was responsible for it being created in the first place and then ultimately getting released was then put in charge of providing the narrative of how it was released or got out in the first place. And then that same man was put in charge of COVID protocols for the United States, which set precedent for the COVID protocols throughout the West. Like, are we really wrapping our brains around what happened? And look at all the downstream things that happened from it. Look at all the pockets that got bigger. The amount of control that the government was able to get. I mean, mail-in ballots, just mail-in ballots. All of a sudden, poof, California, universal mail-in ballots. Wouldn't have happened without COVID. California now, everybody gets sent a ballot in the mail. Just locked up. Elections are locked up now. Like, all these polling stations are usually run heavily by Democrats, even probably, I would imagine, in the red areas. They're still run by Democrats. So many shenanigans when it comes down to California voting. And now everybody gets mailed a ballot. What are the easiest ballots to create fraud with? The mail-in and absentee ballots. It's like, when you start listing off all the things that happened the last 3 years, I mean, just around COVID and what it looks like happened, it's, I don't know. My brain breaks. Because it seems like not that many people care. It really, yeah, I don't know. It's, yeah. Goodbye, YouTube channel. I don't know. We'll see if that stays up. All right. I guess that's probably all I want to rant about COVID. Jeez, I've been ranting about COVID for 40 minutes. All right. I didn't mean to do that. All right. Well, I guess, yeah, that's all I got on COVID for now. I don't want to talk about it anymore either. I get too angry. It's upsetting. It's very upsetting. And kind of like gender affirming care, gender affirming medical care. I mean, the correlation I would make there is like how everybody was like, take the vaccine, takes the vaccine, and then everybody was so scared to speak up against it. It's kind of the same thing with gender affirming care. It's like everybody says like, oh, if you speak out against a child going and getting gender affirming care, puberty blockers, or yeeting the teats, if you speak out against that, you're labeled in some kind of way. And it's just insane. So I mean, that's the correlation I would see there, hallucinate. But it's just the COVID stuff that happened and that we have strong evidence for. It's a lot like the stuff that's happening with Biden that we have evidence for. And it goes to the level of corruption. It's just everything is so corrupt. Everything is so corrupt. It's like Dianne Feinstein. Like how Dianne Feinstein dies, and then you see like all her properties that she had, the place in Maui, the mansion in San Francisco and Pacific Heights. It's like, wait, the numbers don't add up at all. It's like, where did you get the money for all this if you were a public servant? See, what's funny is if I wanted to run for California State Assembly, like, I think I would do a really good job of California State Assembly because, I wouldn't be a good governor because I don't know enough. But California State Assembly, it'd be good. Like, all I have to do is vote. But I could start creating some bills, that kind of thing. It would be a good spot for me to get involved, California State Assembly. That would be extremely hard for me to get in there because of all the money I would have to raise and all of the corruption involved with the election process. The thing is, my incentive to get into office, if I was able to get into office, California State Assembly, my incentive would be the raise in pay. It would be a huge pay raise for me. What is it? It's like $100,000 a year. That's a great living for me. I'm good. $110,000. What do California State Assembly members make? I am perfectly happy with that money. I would be stoked. So I don't need anybody to give me any like fraudulent money. I'd be perfectly happy with the salary that I'm already making. And like California State Assembly members, I don't think most of you do much in terms of how much work you put in per day. I don't think you put in a lot of work. I really don't. I don't. Most of you. I think most of you are probably kind of lazy. In fact, I'm just totally speculation. I'm just guessing, but I'm saying I would totally take that job because I think I would actually have to work less and make more money. So, but I can't get in because you have to be a corrupt politician to get in. It's just the whole thing's so messed up. The entire system is broken. In order to get into the broken, corrupt system, you have to be broken and corrupt. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any fixing it. I personally don't. I personally do not think there's any fixing it. All right, let's continue because there's plenty of other stuff that I want to talk about. So what do we got next here? Let's see. I think we want to talk about some Trump. Let's talk Trump, shall we? Let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, let's talk some Trump. All right, so let's talk about Trump went and had to talk in front of the judge today or yesterday, I think. And he called him out right before he went in there. There's footage of the judge like laughing. The whole thing just seems freaking ridiculous. But let's go to what this whole thing's about. We'll go to a post from Mario Narwhals. This is from a few days ago, obviously. So breaking judge rules Trump defrauded banks and insurers. And the biggest blow yet, a judge ruled Trump committed fraud for years as he built his real estate empire. Judge Arthur Engeron found that Trump and his company deceived banks, insurers, and others by massively overvaluing his assets, exaggerating his net worth on paperwork, used in making deals and securing financing. Key points. Engeron found that Trump, his company, and key executives repeatedly lied about their wealth on their annual financial statements, reaping rewards such as favorable loan terms and lower insurance premiums. Engeron states that those tactics crossed the line, rejecting Trump's contention that it was a disclaimer on the financial statements absolved him of any wrongdoing. Engeron ordered that some of Trump's business licenses be rescinded as punishment, making it difficult or impossible for them to do business in New York. He also said that he would continue to have an independent monitor oversee the Trump Organization operations. Engeron's ruling in a phase of the case known as summary judgment resolves the key claim in the lawsuit, but 6 others remain. In defendant's words, rent-regulated apartments are worth the same as unregulated apartments. Restricted land is worth the same as unrestricted land. Restrictions can evaporate into thin air. A disclaimer by one party casting responsibility on another party exonerates the other party's lies. That is a fantasy world, not the real world. From Engeron's ruling, that is a fantasy world. He really wrote that. I wonder if he's quoting correctly. Okay, so a couple things here. So Tim Pool brought up a Zillow map that showed the value of the property that's right next to Trump's, and it's smaller. It's not on the corner. Like Mar-a-Lago's like right on the, it's like a little peninsula. And it's like right on the peak. So it's water on both sides of it. It's a big property. And they're trying to say that the property right next to it is valued less. And then when you state the value of your assets to a bank to get loans, like a lot of people have been pointing this out, loans do their own like verification of how, like they appraise your stuff. They determine how much your assets are valued when they give you a loan. They're not just going to take your word for it. Yeah, I'm worth $10 gazillion. Okay, write it down. We'll give you however much you need. It's not how it works. Like I'm a poor schlub, and I know this. Like I don't. And they're trying to shut down basically all of Trump's businesses in New York. Like it's just so obviously. It's like over the top ridiculous now at this point. Like Sam Harris was just on Bill Maher, and it was so ridiculous. And this chick, I don't know who this chick was, but she was just ripping them both to shreds. It was hilarious because she was ripping both of them to shreds at the same time in a hilarious fashion. Like just her body language and her like voice inflection and everything she was saying, it was just spot on. She was so spot on. Like they're still trying to defend aspects of Russiagate. Like just the Russiagate, just the 4 years of the Russia propaganda jammed down everybody's throats that turned liberal wine moms mad. The 4 years of the Trump, Russia, blah, he's an asset. He's the most horrible thing. Trump is Hitler. 4 years of that drove liberal wine moms off the edge. And they're never coming back. They have left the reservation. I know that's a politically incorrect term to say. I don't care. It ran liberal wine moms off the edge. They are insane. They have lost it. There's the hatred for Trump has gone to a place where there's no coming back from. That person is lost. The Trump derangement syndrome, Sam Harris, perfect example. And Sam Harris is basically a liberal wine mom. It's more brain-breaking stuff. The stuff that happened for 4 years, and now, on top of all of this, it's 6 years now. The J6 stuff, 2 impeachments, all these indictments. It's so obvious to everyone that isn't suffering from insane TDS like Sam Harris, Bill Maher, and liberal wine moms everywhere, primarily in California. So, okay, yeah. All right, let's listen to what Trump had to say about it.
Former President Trump allegedly fraudulently inflated his net worth by as much as $2.2 billion each year since 2011, according to unsealed court filings released on Wednesday. The Hill reports that the allegation comes as part of New York Attorney General Letitia James' lawsuit against Trump, the Trump Organization.
All right, whatever. We already reviewed all that. I don't care. I've heard enough of this person talk. So, all right, that's all going on with Trump. Let's see. I think that's all I even really want to talk about with Trump. Yeah, there's nothing else I got to say about that's what's going on with him. So, all right, yeah. I want to try to at least get through 4 or 5 topics tonight. So we will stop with Trump for now, and we will go and move to the next thing because there's plenty of other stuff going on. And let's see. Actually, what do I want to talk about next? I'm not even going to get into Gates and McCarthy, especially since there's more that's going to come out about that probably tomorrow. So I'll talk about that tomorrow night. Let's see. Let's talk about the border in New York. Yeah, let's do that because there's plenty going on. Elon visited the border, so that was interesting. So let's see what's going on. How is New York doing? Well, I don't even want to play that video, but all right. So let's listen to this horrible, horrible woman. This woman, Kathy Hochul, however you say her freaking name, she's up there, in my opinion, in terms of how evil somebody is. She's up there with Gavin Newsom, Justin Trudeau, Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and yeah, just freaking plenty of others. But this psychotic woman is evil. Look at this. I love this still of her too with the vaccine eye. That's great right there. That'd be hilarious if that's what it is too. Or freaking Guillain-Barré syndrome. I'm sorry guys. If any of you guys got Guillain-Barré syndrome, I'm not making fun of you. That was mean. I apologize. I do apologize for that. That was mean. I'm gonna go get a Red Bull. Listen to this horrible, horrible woman talk.
It can be done. This can be done in a bipartisan way, comprehensive immigration reform.
What specifically do you want?
Numbers of people can come in. Well, we want them to have a limit on who can come across the border. It is too open right now. People coming from all over the world are finding their way through, simply saying they need asylum. And the majority of them seem to be ending up in the streets of New York. And that is a real problem for New York City. 125,000 newly arrived individuals. And we are being taxed. Now, we are always so proud of the fact that New York has the Statue of Liberty in our harbor. We are one of the most diverse places on earth because of our welcoming nature, and it's in our DNA to welcome immigrants. But there has to be some limits in place, and Congress has to put more controls at the border, and not in this budget threat, shutdown threat. Talk about eliminating positions for Border Patrol when we actually need to double or quadruple those numbers. So get back to work and do your jobs.
Okay. So a lot to unpack there, as the cool kids say. First shot, January 6th was as bad as Pearl Harbor. I know. It was so bad. It was worse than 9/11. I know. It was horrible. Hallucinate, $122,000. What's $122,000? California State Assembly member? Yeah. See, if I got elected to California State Assembly, I mean, it would be like I made my last career. I was making right around. I turned 40 this month. I've lived in California all my life. I've never broke $100,000. I've never made more than $100,000. The most I ever made was like $97,400, and that was back in 2017. That was the most I ever made in my life. I've made less every year since then. We could analyze that with the economy and all that stuff, but that's not the point. The point is $122,000 a year. Like I'm set with my salary, and I would do a very good job as a California State Assembly member. I mean, I would run on, you guys know the shenanigans I would not be voting for. I wouldn't be voting for any of the trans and school stuff, any of the vaccine stuff. You guys know the platform I'd be running on. But the point is, I would do a good job, because primarily what you need me to do is vote. And you guys already know my stances on a lot of stuff. The thing is, there's no way I would ever win. I can't raise the money. There's no way. And I'm not a corrupt existing politician, or I don't know enough corrupt people. So anyway. All right. So sorry. You guys get me all distracted with your comments. Let's see. Okay. So how smart was it now for Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis to have been sending people to New York, people that came across the border illegally? How smart was that move now? Now you have Kathy Hochul, the governor of New York, on Face the Nation on CBS, drawing huge attention to how big of a problem the problem is over at the border. She's drawing attention to the problem at the border. She's not just talking about all of the illegal immigrants that have been sent to her state. She's talking about how New York's being taxed. She isn't trying to point the fingers at Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis anymore because she's so far past that problem. The problem is at the border. This is a brilliant move. Hindsight, this ended up being a brilliant move. All the hate, remember how much crap Gavin Newsom was talking about how sending him to New York and how he was talking all this crap about it. Meanwhile, he's sneaking people in. He's having the border patrols dropping people off in random areas in California. It's insane what's happening in California. And then he's blaming Ron DeSantis, and it's hilarious. They're all such liars. It's just, anyway, the move was brilliant. So let's sneak it. So here's Border Patrol cutting the wires. So Texas National Guard goes and they put all this razor wire up, and then here's Border Patrol cutting the wires. And I get it, here's like families and kids in the water and stuff, but it's just, this is such a calamity. It's just a giant invitation to come here. And it's like, what are all these kayaks doing? This looks like a photo op too. It's just, I don't know. So this is from Colin Rugg. New York is gearing up to pay over $1 million on just hotels over the next 3 years to house illegal immigrants. So yeah, that's the thing too. So each illegal immigrant is costing the taxpayer something like $78,000 per year. Like, that's a salary you can live on. You can almost live on that in California. To have your own place in California, like if you don't have any dogs, and to have your own tiny little dumpy place in anywhere close to the Bay Area, you got to make like at least $87,500 a year. That's just the number I'm pulling out of my hat. I was like, and you're going to be poor. Like, you are going to be barely getting by. Like, all you're affording is your rent, your utilities, and your food for $87,000 a year. That's the Bay Area. And like, you are broke, barely getting by. So, but 78, it's the amount of money that they're spending is insane. Let's read this whole tweet from Colin Rugg here. So, $1 million on just hotels for the next 3 years for illegal immigrants. Good. That's what happens when you call yourself a sanctuary city. But that's just the hotel cost. New York City Eric Adams estimates the total cost of the migrant crisis will be about $12 billion, billion with a B, over the next 3 years. We are past the breaking point, he said, with more than 57,300 individuals currently in the care on an average night. It amounts to $9.8 million a day. Holy crap. Holy crap. Almost 300 million a month and nearly 3.6 billion a year. Residents in New York City have had enough. In the video below, Staten Island locals were arrested for blocking migrant buses. Okay. All right. This move was brilliant. Greg Abbott, Ron DeSantis. Yep. Brilliant move. Sorry. Now one of my dogs is drinking water really loudly. I greatly apologize, folks. Okay. What else is going on at the border? Well, there's a fly in here. I hate it when I leave the door open. You guys know what's going on at the border. It's absolute madness. It's not just people from Mexico. I've talked about this a million times. It's people from all over the world coming. Here's a video of Asians seen crossing the San Diego Tijuana border. And with what's happening in other countries, like that island, I can't remember the name, over off Italy. Sorry, I was reading the comments again. Ireland, the UK, France, I think the Netherlands, Sweden. There's all sorts of countries where it seems like there's this designed infiltration of people that are not from that country being shoved into these countries, much like what's happening here. It's like by design. It's okay. Okay, great. We have it officially declared an invasion at the border. All right, we already know all that. Elon went there. Here's a video I want to show you. Okay. You guys have to watch this video. You can't just listen. You have to actually watch this. So you need to see the body language of these two individuals. Look at the body language or just how the child is reacting. Mainly the body language of the man. The man looks like somebody that knows he's busted. Knows he's busted for a very, very serious crime. So you guys tell me what you think is going on in this video here. The guy that's doing the narration tells you what's going on in the video, what he thinks is going on in the video. And I definitely agree with him. And yeah, watch this video. You tell me what you think is going on. And I believe that some lady reported to Congress that I believe it's 80,000 children have gone missing. 80,000 migrant children that have come across the border. Remember the whole kids in cages crap? AOC crying at the border in her white outfit? All that crap? Kids in cages? All that nonsense. Remember that? Yeah, 80,000 kids gone missing. So watch this video. You have to watch. You can't listen. Just watch.
Tranquilo, descanse sus cosas. Where are you from?
So this child is heavily sedated.
Colombia. ¿Ustedes de Venezuela? Perú. Perú. Colombia.
¿Y qué tiene el niño?
No, es que
Now they're panicking.
¿Están
'Cause
todos dormidos así?
they know the Americans realize the
Le
child's
cuelga la
sedated.
cabecita,
Now
¿no?
they're panicking, trying to wake him up.
That kid looks sedated. ¿No se despierta la niña?
El niño.
¿El niño?
Sí. No, se acaba de dormir.
¿Y por qué no se despierta?
For those of you that don't know anything about child trafficking, I would be willing to bet these are not this child's parents. They do not know who he is, and that's why he's sedated. If he wasn't, he'd be freaking out right now.
Hey, kid.
Look at, this kid is drugged.
Hey, kid.
This kid is drugged.
Hey, kid.
Look at this kid is drugged. Show this to your audience. This is child trafficking right here, guys. Este señor está traficando a este niño.
No, no, no.
¿Cómo que no?
No.
That kid is being trafficked.
No.
A ver, ¿por qué no se levanta?
Ya despertamos. Hijito. Hey, kid.
Woken up already.
And look at this creep. Like, watch the kid's head. The kid's head. He doesn't have any control. The kid's, he's clearly sedated. And then look at the man, how he's like, it's, this kid is very clearly being trafficked. How often is this happening? 80,000 kids have gone missing.
Look at that. Wow.
Look at his face. Look at this creep's face. Here, look at I'm going to pause it on. Look at this creep. Look at this creep's face. This dude knows. He knows he's an evil scumbag. And God knows what's going to happen to this child. And this dude knows what he's doing. And he knows he's busted. That's the look on his face right there.
Unbelievable. This is child trafficking.
And the look on her face. No, that's not sympathy for the child. That's sympathy for, oh God, I know I'm busted. These people are sick.
Cualquier tipo de joya, cualquier tipo, no importa que sea el material, lo tienen que guardar. En el cabello, absolutamente nada. ¿Ok?
Sí, despierta. Ella, la niña está consciente. Ya sí bien.
So he goes over to this child and shows like the huge difference. So look at immediately she wakes up, and just the way her arm is around this man, the way he's holding her, it to me, just right off the bat, it's like, oh, that's her dad, or it's her brother, or it's her cousin, or her uncle, somebody she knows, a man she knows and trusts, just from the body language of this little girl. Just look really quick.
Viene con su papi. This little girl's with.
See how she goes in with her head and her chin. She's very clearly alert. She's awake. She's sleepy, but she's not drugged. She's not sedated like the other kid. And just that subtle movement she did with her chin in towards his body, that is a protector figure for her. She trusts that man. That is not what's going on with the other one. Now, I could be completely off. This kid could be trafficked too, and she has this could be like a Stockholm syndrome type thing where she has found trust in one of her captors type thing, but that's not the vibe I'm getting. But we'll keep watching a little bit.
Her dad. Ella sí viene con su papi. El otro niño, look at this kid. Is drugged. This is child trafficking right here, guys.
So these people that are doing the video, they're at the border. They're personally there. They're clearly familiar with what's going on at the border, and they've seen a lot of this type of stuff. There's a huge line of people right there, a bunch of people with their kids, adults with kids. They pick out these two individuals because they clearly recognized something, a pattern of behavior, something that they've seen before, and he's showing you right here what he's seeing and why he thinks these are human traffickers. I've talked about it on the show, the rape trees. You guys have seen the rape trees. Just right over on the other side of the border, you see these tents. It's disgusting. You see children's, women's undergarments scattered all over the place. They set up little tents. Women that have to make this journey, and children, it is extremely dangerous for them. Even if they have a single protector, like a single male, I mean, what's a single male going to do against 5 other people that want to take his female? It's lawlessness when they're making this big long journey in these caravans, and then the trafficking, the cartels, the drugs, the fentanyl, all the problems that come across the border, all the problems that come with this border invasion. And a lot of people are saying that the cartels are actually flooding the border on purpose to draw attention away from what they really have going on, which is these huge tunnels that they can drive semi-trucks through that go under the border that they've built. Giant tunnels that they can drive semi-trucks through. And, they have them well hidden on both sides. And then they flood the border, get all the border patrol to go to this one area. Meanwhile, over here, they got this giant drug trafficking operation going on. That's the rumor. People are saying anyway. First shot. What are you doing, man? How you doing? Yeah. So, all right. So, yeah, that's border stuff. I think that's enough border stuff I want to talk about. Yeah, enough border stuff. We know what's going on. You have to call it an invasion at this point. So, all right. Enough border stuff. I think I got time. Yeah, I probably got time for one more topic. So, and I know what I want to end the night with, so I'll be quick on this topic too. Just some trans insanity that we got to talk about, things that we've been putting up with, and I'm sure you guys have seen this footage. And apparently this wasn't the first time this has happened. So this kid, this happened over in Oregon, in a high school in Oregon. And what's messed up is this other kid starts apologizing and saying, I'm sorry, and stuff like that. It's just this whole thing. There's just so many things wrong with this scene. So I'm sure you guys have seen this footage here. And actually, I'll start off by saying, if this was just a girl doing it to another girl, it would be bad. It wouldn't be okay. But no, this is a biological male doing this to a biological female. So that's a boy. That's a boy that did that. Okay, so I coach 6th, 7th, and 8th grade boys and girls cross country. This leaves me with rage in my veins. I'm not even a dad. You make any of my girls cry, I want to break bones viciously. And I would enjoy doing it. And it brings something out of me that I don't like coming out of me. But seeing someone do this to a little girl makes me want to impose violence on someone. This isn't the kid's first time that he's done this, and people that were born one gender that claim they feel as if they are another gender have always been referred to as something called gender dysphoria, and has always been considered a psychological disorder. In the DSM-5, the Diagnostical Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, it has always been considered a mental health disorder. And that's not meant to be mean at all. It's not, so is codependency. Codependency is a mental health disorder. Bipolar disorder. There's lots of people that have mental health issues, and we talk about, like mental health awareness and stuff. But we've always called things what they are. And gender dysphoria is a mental health issue. And what we've done as a society is taking people with mental health issues and put them in positions to where they can inflict bodily danger on women. And we've done this in the name of some sort of equity. It's madness. And most rational people can see this for the madness that it is, but people are too scared to speak up, much like people were scared to speak up about the vaccine. Meanwhile, stuff like this is happening. This grows the age of the girls I coach. If another student if another athlete from another school beat up one of my athletes, I would probably go to jail because I would just rip that coach over there apart. It wouldn't matter if that coach had anything to do with it. That coach is going to pay for what that athlete did to my athlete. This enrages me. I probably wouldn't do that. I would like to think I have the self-control not to do that, but this enrages me. And we're just letting it happen. Okay. I thought there's another incidence of him doing it to two girls in like a basketball arena type or a basketball court, but I guess I don't have that. So this is a little more stuff that we're like doing that isn't being called out. Like this that's being almost celebrated as if this is okay for some reason. So this is a mom, this is her son. And tell me if you think these ideas are coming from the child or if they're coming from the parent.
How do you feel about having a penis? Grumpy. What do you wish would happen?
Just magically vagina comes.
Yeah, that would be so nice.
It's wrong having a penis on you, girl.
It's wrong to have a penis if you're a girl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So here, I'm going to go back a little bit. Did you guys notice this really quick?
Penis if you're a girl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, huh? It's kind of like a birthday.
Wrong having a penis on.
Did you notice how short the child clearly bites its nails like down to the nub? Just something to notice.
You, girl.
It's wrong to have a penis if you're a girl?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, huh? It's kind of like a birth defect. Let me see
It
this
is a
one.
birth defect.
Let me see this one.
See, it's so funny that she said that because she's like, it's kind of funny if you have a penis, if you're a girl, it's kind of like a birth defect. Meanwhile, within the same trans movement, there's people that are saying, oh, there's women with penises. So like she just caught like there's so much contradictory stuff within the trans movement. They contradict themselves all the time, like all the freaking time, because you can't not contradict anatomy and biology, what's always been, what's always will be. It's nonsense. We are celebrating, promoting mental health disorders and bringing them to the forefront. It's the death of meritocracy, if you will. And it's not the exact right word for this example, but it's why is this being celebrated instead of celebrating the body you were born in? Remember that? Remember the whole like love who you are, love what the big man upstairs gave you, be happy with everything that you have, all that kind of stuff. It's just that got flipped on its head. Now it's like, oh, you don't like who you are? Let's change it with surgery and pills for the rest of your life, making you a lifelong customer of the pharmaceutical industry. It's madness. It's freaking madness. Okay, I'm done with the trans stuff because they're good. All right, I got just enough time to talk about it. So we'll at least end with a semi-funny topic because this thing brought up like some serious. It got some people mad, and I find it shocking. And people thought I was mad about it too, but I was joking. I said I feel attacked because I'm always out on the trails and I'm such a dork. Like I'm the biggest dork. But there was this video, and they did such a good job on this video. I'll just play it for you, and then I'll talk about it afterwards. But they did such a good job on this video. It's so well done. Like the acting, it's so funny. So I'm sure you guys have seen this, but it's just the title of the video is White People on a Hike.
You're gonna love the view. It's wet down there.
Oh, is your guys' first time? Yeah, just like keep going down straight. The waterfall is gonna be on the left. You're gonna love it. Watch your step.
Oh, it's my favorite. Watch your step. Like so much thought went into that because every single different statement that they made is so spot on. It's absolutely white people on a hike. We're just like that. That's how we are. I say everything from howdy folks. I literally say howdy folks. I'm not even joking. I just say hi. How are you? Hey guys. Like, yeah, all the time. And if anybody asks me a question about anything about like Henry Cowell, if I'm in Henry Cowell State Park, because I know every inch of that park like the back of my hands and every single different plant that grows in there and all the different animals and insects and snakes and all sorts of stuff. I love that park. It's fabulous. If anybody asks me anything about it, I will talk to them for a half an hour. In the middle of my run, I'll stop everything I'm doing because I'd rather just talk to a stranger about stuff that's going on in the California State Park because it's beautiful and I love it. It's just how we are. Well, a lot of people got mad. A lot of people got mad about this or like calling it racist and stuff. And I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous if that makes you mad. With that being said, there's a certain thing I understand right now. I will say, if white people were to make any video about anything, talking about anything, black people doing anything, black people doing this, black people doing this, black people on a picnic, black people on a roller coaster, black people at the beach. If white people made a video impersonating black people doing anything at all, it would be on like primetime CNN. Like if somebody on Instagram with like 200 followers made a video with their 5 friends saying black people going kayaking, and they like, I'm not I won't like name what the skit would look like for you guys. But anything like that, they would be called racist. 100% for sure. Hands down. They would be. Now, if those same white people did a video that said Italians going to a barbecue, right? Like an American barbecue. Italians going to a barbecue. And they did a skit about that. Probably wouldn't be called racist. What's the difference, though? Oh, it's a power structure thing. Okay. All right. Well, there's this race dynamic that's been created that's made people hyper sensitive to like racial stuff. And yeah, white people feel attacked frequently. And with that being said, I kind of sort of sympathize a little bit. But that's not what that was. That was the exact opposite of an attack on white people. If anything, that was like an olive branch. That was getting back to the days of Chappelle's show. Before all this crap was going on, when, like, you remember when Chappelle did Clayton Bigsby? Remember when Chappelle did Whiteface? Like, all that stuff's hilarious. It's freaking hilarious. Chappelle made fun of black people, too. He made fun of black people, made fun of white people, he made fun of everybody. He made fun of Prince, made fun of everyone. And it was just funny. Funny is funny. And that's what that video was. It was just funny. And it was super good-natured fun. And it was spot on. The guy that slipped and said, "Watch your step." That one was my favorite. Because it's like totally something I would do if I'm coming downhill. I'm the one that falls. Oh, watch out. Like, they're like, yeah, I know. You're the one that fell, idiot. Like, it's just they nailed it. They freaking nailed it. So, yeah, it was freaking hilarious. And it got some people mad. And, yeah, no, you shouldn't be mad about that. All right. Well, yeah, that's about it. Well, no, you know what? I got like 8 more minutes. I'm going to go to something else. See if I could talk about something for like a cool 6 minutes, because I want to show something. There is another quick video I want to show before I end the night, but let's see if there's something else I could talk about for like 5 minutes, because I got another 5 or 6 minutes I could talk for a bit. So was there something? Oh yeah. Okay. I got so much to talk about tomorrow. Yeah, I didn't talk about California at all tonight, and that's fine. We don't need to. Let's talk about Philly. Let's go over to Philly really quick. So Philadelphia is a shithole right now, but this story is crazy, man. So this dude, is that all? Okay, so this dude, oh, you know what? Let me refresh, because I got another story in here that I bookmarked recently that should pop up when I refresh. So yeah, this journalist that is often talking about how Philadelphia is not that bad, gun violence isn't that bad. Well, he was killed in his home. So liberal journalist Josh Kruger was shot and killed early this morning in Philadelphia after an intruder entered his home and started shooting. Just 2 days ago, Kruger responds to a tweet from Scott Adams mocking him for his prediction that there's a good chance you will be killed if Biden is elected. He said that back in 2020. And it's so this is his tweet. So Josh Kruger says, the Dilbert dude, Scott Adams is the artist of Dilbert. He lives over in Pleasanton, local dude. I really like him. I really like Scott Adams. He's a thinker. He's a thinker, and he seems to look at things honestly. And I like his takes on things. I don't always agree with them at all. But I think he's a really smart guy. I think he's probably cool to hang out with. So anyway, that's who he's talking about here, the Dilbert artist. The Dilbert dude is like Nostradamus. Look what he predicted from 2020. Wow, how eerie. He said, if Biden is elected, there's a good chance you will be dead within a year. And he was saying that in general. And yeah, he's obviously being hyperbolic there, but let's not act like conservatives haven't been. I mean, there was a conservative that was shot and murdered because he was conservative for walking down the street in Portland, Oregon. That freaking Antifa dude who ended up, the cops went after him. He died in a firefight with the cops, but walked up to him, shot him in the chest. Like, granted that was before Biden got into office, but yeah, if Biden is elected, there's a good chance he'll be dead within a year. So he didn't expand on that too much. But what's crazy is Josh Kruger goes and he puts this tweet out. He says, Dilbert, dude, this is Nostradamus. Look what he predicted from 2020. Wow. Eerie. Within like hours, he was shot and murdered after he put that tweet out. So just 2 days ago, Kruger responded to a tweet from Scott Adams mocking him for his prediction that there's a good chance you'll be dead if Biden is elected. The Dilbert dude is like Nostradamus. Look at his prediction for 2020. Wow, eerie. At the moment, no arrests have been made. 2 weeks before his death, Kruger posted on Facebook that someone had showed up to his house searching for their boyfriend. I'm a man I've never met once in my entire life. The person referred to themselves as Lady Diabla, the she-devil of the streets. Kruger says Kruger says they even threatened him. Wow. Okay, so Henry No talked about this as well. So Henry No says breaking leftist journalist activist Josh Kruger has been tragically shot dead in his Philadelphia home. Kruger has long downplayed gun violence in the city and publicly chastised others for who spoke out against it. Here's some of his tweets that he said, because he is often downplaying. It's a lot like the people in San Francisco that downplay what's happening there. He's my age too. He's freaking 39. Look, it's the lawless land of liberals in Philly where shootings are dropping to levels not seen in years, is what he says there. Some idiot just said you're more likely to get shot and killed than die of COVID in Philly to make some insensitive rhetoric point for his side. Folks, 4 times as many Philadelphians have died of COVID than gunshots this year. I understand math is hard. Do better. Okay, so yeah, you guys get it. He's always downplaying the COVID violence in Philly. And then ironically, I don't find any humor in this at all. I don't find any humorous in a leftist journalist dying, but it's just weird. It's just super weird that it happened like right after he tweeted at Scott Adams. Okay, and then I do want to show you this quick video before we go. So this lady, and this doesn't look like a conservative to me. You guys tell me, does this look like a conservative to you, the lady in the car? So she gets surrounded, like you guys have seen these motorcycles. It's happening in cities all around the country, but like motorcycle games. They come out on motorcycles, dirt bikes, quads, like all sorts of just, off-road vehicles that aren't supposed to be on the street. And they come out by the dozens, the hundreds, and they just take over streets. And this lady got caught in one of those. And then look what this dude does. So this is crazy. So just some random lady, this happens. Jumps up. And then boom, see that? So drops his Glock. I'm 99% sure that's a Glock. Drops it on the ground. Okay. So he jumps up on the woman's car for whatever reason, busts out her back window. She's got a kid in the car. His gun falls out. Lady gets out of the car like, are you kidding me? Did you really just do that? And look, does this look like a liberal to you? All right. So he's picking up his gun. Watch what happens when she walks up to him. No damn way you won't feel the shit. Walks up on him. He points the gun in her face. Like, if you point a gun in someone's face, that is justification for deadly force. All she did, he broke her window, jumped on her car, broke her window with her kid inside. She gets out of the car and confronts him, and he points a gun in her face. Right on the streets. Down by law. Insane. Not over. Now what? He headbutts her. Look at, he headbutts her with his visor. And she's still not scared. She's a tough chick. Again, does this look like a conservative? Does this look like a Trumper? Does this look like a Republican to you?
Straight knock out all y'all. Hell no, them boys don't play. Straight nuts in your face. Put your pistol away. Don't.
This dude's a little bitch too. He's a scrawny armed little bitch. Look how easily she pushes him over too.
The weed to my head and pray for the folks in the club.
Look at his, like, bro, really, you skipping leg day? It looks like he's skipping arm and core day too, but and then everybody comes up and surrounds her, takes his side. Like, so again, liberals, this is what you're cheering for. This is coming for you too, Oakland. How you liking how things are going down there in Oakland right now? Tenderloin, San Francisco. It ain't Trump's fault. This ain't Trump's fault. Ain't no Republican's fault. I like this chick though. I don't care if she voted for Biden. I don't care if this was a red pilling moment for her, guaranteed. And she is not scared at all. She's standing up to all of them. I like this chick. Not scared, right? Everybody's off the little face. Way to go, lady. Way to go. Look at that. Steps right in front of this dude. Like, she's got, is the kid on her back right now? It's just insane. The behavior that has become acceptable in society is just out of freaking control. That she was walking away with her kid, holding her kid in her arms when she gets confronted by that douchebag. That dude that pointed a gun in her face. That very well could have been the end if she was someone different. Unreal. All right. All righty, folks. Man, I went over a little bit. Of course, I go off on a rant right at the end. Yeah, she was a badass, huh? Hallucinate. Where's Point Breeze? I don't know where Point Breeze is, Wally World. Yeah, she did. You saw that at the end? First shot, she did have kids in the back. That's who she walked away with. She was carrying her kid. It's just unreal, man. Philly's out of control. There's all sorts of there's those videos that came out of Philly with that flash mob the other night too. So Philly, Chicago, New York, San Francisco, Oakland. I'm sure there's some cities that I'm missing, but they're like, cities are getting out of hand, man. Cities are getting way out of hand, way out of control, and we aren't even in 2024 yet. The summer of 2024 is going to be wild, folks. It is going to be wild. The summer of 2024, my friends. I hope you're ready. I hope you got your favorite YouTube live streamers on lock, because there will be some crazy footage coming out. Crazy footage. Just if another George Floyd thing happens, like anything of that nature, it's going to be wild. It's going to be so wild. We have no idea what they're going to do. My tinfoil. I need to go get more tinfoil. I'm running out. All right, folks. I think that is all I got for the evening. So, at least you could be strapped in PA. First shot. You can be strapped anywhere you want, homie. Just saying. Wally World, hallucinate. First shot. Thank you guys so much for hanging out over on Rumble. Pete Grabber, how you doing? Northside, nice to see you. Shovelbone, thank you guys so much for hanging out. The kid from New Jersey has already been doxxed. What kid from New Jersey? I don't know, Northside. I don't know if I could fight this dude. I have the 7th grade kid that's like 6'2". This kid is a monster. There's some 8th grade kids that I think could beat me up. There's a 17-year-old wrestler kid that I grapple with on a regular occasion that can take me down at will. There's nothing I can do from stopping that kid from taking me to the ground. Nothing. Like, if there's nothing I can do. If he wants to put me on my back on the ground, he absolutely can do it anytime he wants. He doesn't know what to do when he gets me there, but that's not the point. Just anyway, yeah. So no, I wouldn't even say it. There's some big ass strong 7th graders, man. So Yeah. All right, guys. Well, you know how we do it. Before we end the evening, we have to end with a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. All right, let's see what we got here. That's not even a joke, but it's I almost want to tell two. All right. You guys ready for the Chuck Norris joke of the evening? One of them was so funny I want to say it, but it's not really a joke. Okay, you know what? I am going to read it because it's so good. All right. It's not really a joke, but it's more a fact if this were to happen. All right. Again, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful evening. And here is the Chuck Norris joke for the evening. That's not really a joke. It's more of a statement of fact. Chuck Norris fucked your wife while you were out of town on a business trip. Tough shit. On that note, stay CaliBased.